And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China.
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what? China. All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese.
China.
Russian.
Russia.
Italian.
Italy.
German.
Germany.
Swedish.
Sweden.
Korean.
Korea.
Egyptian.
Egypt.
Nigerian.
Nigeria.
Black.
Exactly. Nothing. Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
They say, go see the African History Museum. Why do they start when the boats came? Why don't they start with the drums?
When we was kings.
No, they don't want it, but we are kings. But the 400 years doesn't have to deal with slavery. It has to deal with the Bible. It has to deal with us being disobedient to God.
I'm so glad you're here because you can bring great clarity. Can you tell us a little bit about the Sephardic Jews and how they were scattered because they went west?
I sure can.
Because the reason why I want to is because a lot of them, and a lot of people don't know this, are in the Caribbean.
They are.
In the islands.
And you're one of them. I know that.
I'm one of them.
I know that.
Because, you know, a lot of folk don't know that those roots are there. One of the first batches of slaves that came to Jamaica, they were the Sephardic Jews. It's documented.
And they're all over the Caribbean,
over the Caribbean,
South America, Central America, and even the South Central United States.
Wow.
And DNA testing is a factor in all this now.
The white man is enacting a story all over the world. We left our homes and flooded the world. We smothered culture. We smothered knowledge. We erased history and rewrote it our way. Myself, my grandfather is 100% Ashkenazi Jewish. Claiming to be Jewish, Ashkenazi Jewish is just a conspiracy. White men claiming to be of tribes of Israel when I'm Germanic. You know, I have no ties to Israel, no ties to Judaism. You know, except loosely written history that's been whitewashed over for centuries. And, you know,
from the Renaissance.
Oh yeah, right. You wipe everything clean. It's funny how exactly the Renaissance. It's this rebirth, but it's white rebirth. I think at the same exact time the Renaissance is happening, Columbus is sailing to America and committing genocide.
Only one true ethnic Jew, the Mizrahi Jew, because they are Africans, and if you read the original Bible written in Phoenician Hebrew, they're not. Jewish people are not Europeans. The modern Jews in Israel are Russians or Khazars to be precise, from Russia. I learned it from my grandfather that he was because he was an Ashkenazi Jew.
Genesis chapter 11 verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you.
want to say peace and blessings to everyone. Hope all is well with you guys. I know that this is an unscheduled live that I'm doing tonight. So I know I'm going to only catch a few of you guys tonight doing a late night playbook. And I know that, this upcoming Shabbat kicks off the Feast of Tabernacles, Chag Sakath, right? So it kicks off the Feast of the Tabernacles. And I know that many of you guys really want to know and understand what is this feast day? Should we honor this feast day? Can we honor this feast day? How do we honor this feast day? So I want to take a little time out tonight and just do a last minute live to go over this lesson here. All right, let's see here. All right, if you guys can hear me clear before we get started, type 1 inside the chat. If my voice sounds clear, type 1 inside the chat. Let me make sure that my vocals is correct. Is good here. Yeah, my audio looks good here. All right. If my vocals are good here, if my audio sounds good, type 1. If it doesn't, type 2. Yeah, Yaquaba, I believe that you're going to have to reset your browser, reset your browser or close your browser out and reopen it, because so far I see everyone else seem to, it seemed to become sounding pretty clear with others that are listening. So, yeah, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Before we get started, though, let me give some shout outs. But I really want to do this this lesson here because there's a number of so many really don't understand the significance of this feast day. Matter of fact, this feast day alone you can use to prove to those that are still in Christianity, that's inside the church, that the feast days are very important, right? And I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to prove it to you with this particular feast day. That is very important. There's a lot of nuggets. I shared a little bit when I did a quick live when I was sitting in my car at work. But I want to really share more about this particular day with you guys, because I believe that there's a lot more to unpack. And I'm going to unpack a lot with you tonight. And feel free, if you have any questions, post it in the comment section. But I'm going to give clarity, because with this here will shatter, it will knock down anyone within the church, any of these theologians that are trying to tell us we don't have to honor the feast days. Now, I'm going to show you why this feast day is so important. All right. So before we go there, let me go ahead and give some shout outs here. Let's start off with here. Let's see who we have here. I want to say shalom to Tashi. I want to say peace and blessings to you, sister. Let's see who else. And Tashi, you was here pretty early. One says here 1 a.m. Then we have Lynn, who was here early. So my apologies. I know you guys may get around to seeing this later. I know I haven't really been doing my lives. I got kind of thrown out of whack with YouTube. So I'm trying to get back in sync with my lives and my playbooks. So I'll get there, family. And I hope and pray that you guys saw the video that I posted earlier with Blair Underwood. The short video tomorrow night, will premiere it on this channel. His full short movie it's a 30-minute movie. And I encourage you guys, watch the movie. Don't form an opinion until you watch the full movie. Because one thing that I can say about this awakening, especially many of our brothers and sisters that have awakened, we can be very critical. It's as if we forget that we were lost. At one time, we weren't clear with this information. Now, for me, I knew my identity. It was handed down to me. My grandmother made it clear that we're Israelites. My uncles and all, they made it clear that we are Israelites, right? But I grew up in Christianity, right? I didn't completely embrace it. you know, and as a pastor, I was in Christianity. I was a Christian pastor for almost, I want to say almost 8 years, just within Christianity, non-denominational, then transitioned out of that to where we are now in this truth, right? So let's have some compassion. Let's not be so critical. You know, remember, he did this video in 1992. He made this movie in 1992. He got a lot of kickback from our own people, not just Caucasians, but the primary people that was upset at him was our own people. He took his own money and to produce a movie that T.D. Jakes didn't do, because you won't see anyone complaining about T.D. Jakes, right? Because he didn't do anything like this. Creflo Dollar didn't do anything like this. You know, none of these Joel Osteen, none of these so-called mega ministries, none of them has ever produced what he produced. And he's not a theologian. So, you know, let's be careful how we try to be so critical when we're hearing information, especially this video was produced in 1992. And then I'm going to drop a 1 hour, I would say, interview, right? Director's cut, so to speak. And he gives more information to let you know that Blair Underwood knows who he is. Blair Underwood understood what he did, and he knew that it was going to stir up. He could have got blacklisted, like many do who try to bring out this truth. So look out for tomorrow night, the full video. Many of you guys asked for. The second coming will be premiering tomorrow night on this channel, and then Shabbat, right? Or actually, I would just say the first day of the week, which would be Saturday night, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to have and upload the bonus material, and you will hear from his own mouth that he knew exactly what he was doing. He made it clear that understanding who Christ is, as far as in terms of his skin complexion, is important. But what he was saying is, yeah, you can know all these different things, but what about the heart? So he wasn't downplaying Christ's physical appearance, because if that was the case, he wouldn't have made the movie. So family, when I upload it, family, let's listen with intelligence. The Hebrew word is shamai or shamai, which means listen with intelligence. Listen with intelligence, family. Listen with intelligence. Don't form an opinion until you watch the full video. And the video, I'm not going to let out any I'm not going to kind of damper, I'm not going to throw anything out there. I'm not going to be that one person who always damper your mood when you're watching a movie by telling you all what the movie's about. No, I'm going to let you see it for yourself, and we'll do an actual playbook on it. But I'm going to let you hear his interview Saturday night, and then prayerfully the next video you see me upload, large video, will be the road to Savannah. All right. But with that being said, let me go ahead and finish giving these shout outs. I want to say to you, love, Yah, Salama to you as well. Appreciate the love and support. Nadia, Yah's light. I want to say shalom to you. Appreciate you, my sister. S. Edwards, shalom to you. Appreciate you for supporting my brother. Yaquaba, want to say shalom. Quahal, in other words, what that means, family, that is the assembly. Quahal, that's the assembly. What he's saying, is it well assembly? Is it well family? Right? That's the proper term. And contrary to what these people that try to slander and defame us, right, throw shade on us, right? Our assembly, we don't call ourselves an Israelite assembly. No, we refer to ourselves, and always have, and got it recorded, right, that we are Ha Quahal, right? Ha Quahal, the assembly, Ha, or should we say witnesses, right? Ha Quahal, right? Idath Yasharallah. Right? In other words, the assembly of witnesses, the Israelites. See, what people try to do is try to lump us all in, try to find somehow to lump us all in. Oh, there's a Hebrew Israelite assembly. No, that's not the name of our assembly. We're not a religion. We are the assembly of witnesses, the Israelites. So be careful, family. Don't let these people box you in. It's a lot of slander going on right now from those that call themselves Christians. But anyway, so that's what Yaquaba, that's what he says here when he says Shalom Quahal. What he's saying is it well assembly of witnesses. All right. I want to say peace and blessings to C. Brooks 16. Appreciate the love and support, sister. I want to say Shalom Mash Paka to you as well. Thank you for the support again. Octeria Phillips, want to say peace and blessings, shalom to you. Who else do we have here? William Smithers, thank you again for the support, my brother. Shalom to you. Elder Brunson, family, let's show some love to Elder Brunson. Want to say shalom to you. Who else do we have here? Yes, I had C. Brooks, I had to give Kanye the trash can, with that White Lives Matter t-shirt, and yet he trying to beat up David, whatever his name is, and all a bunch of nonsense. So I had to give him a garbage can. But anyway, I want to say salama to Windwalker. Who else do we have here? Let's see here. Victor Wheatley. I want to say shalom to you. Jay Highstyle, my buddy Jay Highstyle. I want to say peace and blessings to you. Family, show some love to my buddy Jay Highstyle. Jessica Figures, want to say peace and blessings to you. Rising Moon, want to say peace and blessings to you. Shalom, or should I say salama to you. Who else do we have here? P Legal Intel, shalom to you. Appreciate you, sis, for the love and support. Who else do we have here? Let's see here. No others are coming in now because the chat is starting to move quick here. Rising Moon, want to say peace and blessings to you. Let's see here. Tyrone Smith, peace and blessings to you. Let's see here. Windwalker, peace and blessings to you. Jermaine Myers, peace and blessings to you. Blue, peace and blessings to you. Bessie, let's see. Bessie Shah Jahan, want to say peace and blessings to you. Jacob Yasharala, want to say peace and blessings to you. Jessica Figures, peace and blessings to you. Janae, want to say peace and blessings to you. Hopefully my audio is clear. If not, reset your browser and that should help you. Let's see here. Let me pull my mic up to my voice. Maybe that'll help out as well. Let's see who else we have here. Absolutely, P Legal Intel, as a child of the Most High, Yahweh. I've been doing all of this feast days for 54 years with my family. Absolutely. And we're going to continue to give clarity and encourage our brothers and sisters to do the same thing, to likewise do the same. Appreciate the love and support. And hopefully in this lesson tonight, I'll give you guys some additional revelations to what you already know. So we're going to get it in. Here we go. Amiyah, want to say shalom to you. Calbert, I want to say peace and blessings to you. Everything is good. Appreciate it. Let's see who else here. I think I have everyone. Stay on Fire Ministry. Want to say peace and blessings to you guys. If you haven't subscribed to his channel, really appreciate the support, my brother. You and your wife's support. Roosevelt Adams, I did Yom Kippur and partaking of the Feast of Tabernacles. So this lesson is very important to me. Absolutely. And I'm going to give you some nuggets that you could take to your loved ones to give clarity to them and the importance of this feast day. Who else do we have here? All right. Think I got everyone. If I didn't, like the old school would say, charge it to my head, not to my heart. I want to say peace and blessings, Lamar Thornton as well. Thank you for the love and support. Rules of Council, I want to say peace and blessings to you. CB, peace and blessings to you as well. Poetic CC, peace and blessings to you. Let's see, Ron T, Thawadah as well. Appreciate you. Thank you, my brother as well. Thawadah, for many of you guys that may not know, Thawadah means thank you. So thank you, my brother. Thawadah to you as well for the love and support. Want to say thank you, Young Brew, for the donation. Thank you for sowing to this ministry here. I really appreciate the love and support. And family, let's show Young Brew some love for his contributions tonight. Really appreciate you, my brother. And also Sean Thomas. Let's show some love for Sean Thomas as well. I'm trying to bring him up here because I just noticed the contribution here. Thank you as well. So let's show some love to them, family, for their contributions tonight. Daniel Floyd, want to say peace and blessings to you. And Sean, reach out to me. Reach out to me this week and let's talk, all right? Because I'm going to be coming down to Georgia. And family, I'll let you guys know. For those that are down in Georgia, I will let you know when I'm down there. So that way, if you guys want to come out and hear me speak, I will let you know what location. But appreciate the love and support for those down in Georgia holding it down, and South Carolina, in that area, that have traveled whenever I'm in the area from far and near to come hear me speak and show love. So I'll give you guys a heads up, and that maybe after I speak, after the service, we all could just have dinner together, and we'll keep it minimum. I'll try to cover as much as I can, keep the cost down, but let's fellowship together. All right. I'll cover the tab. All right. But let's see here. Roosevelt Adams, want to say peace and blessings to you. Takirika, excuse me if I mispronounce your name. Styles, want to say peace and blessings to you. Sister Yvette, 78, peace and blessings to you. Devontae Israel, peace and blessings to you. And again, thank you everyone for your love and support. Lamar Thorne, peace and blessings to you. And I think I have everyone. And again, if I didn't, charge it to my head, not to my heart. Inspire identity, peace and blessings, shalom to you. So family, we're going to go ahead and get started here. N.Y. Ozeki, I believe that's how you pronounce it. But forgive me if I mispronounce your name. Want to say peace and blessings to you as well. And again, family, some of you guys, if you have issues with the audio, just reset your browser, because it could be your browser that's causing issues in terms of the audio. All right. So let's go ahead and get started here. Let's go ahead and get this lesson in. And again, I know that this is a last minute unscheduled live, and I know I have to get back in place and get on point with this, so that way we could get the views up on these videos. Because when you come out of lockdown, like I've done on a number of times, a number of cases, YouTube has done a number of things that put me in that shadow ban arena. So they don't send out notifications. They don't do any of those things. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started here. And again, if you guys can hear me clearly, type 1, because I've seen a couple of people saying that they're having issues with the audio. So let me do something here real quick. Let me just make sure. Let me adjust my audio real quick just to make sure. All right, let's see here. Let me try one more time to make sure that it's set correctly. All right. All right. All right. Hopefully this helps out. I tried to reset it even on my end. All right. So, all right, that's clear. That's much better. All right, that's better. All right, may have been on my end as well. All right, so I reset it on my end. So my apologies. All right, so yeah, like I said, YouTube has been doing a lot to my channel. They've been putting me on lockdown, a number of times. They also have been unsubscribing people, literally. And even though I'm seeing subscriptions go up, they've not been sending out the notifications. So if you're having issues with your notifications, unsubscribe and resubscribe, so that way you get those notifications. All right. So, all right. So I hope this helps. So it looks like this is sounding much better to you guys. So apologies for the audio issues. So from here moving forward, it's going to sound better. All right, but I want to make this clear, family, especially when we start getting into the Feast of Tabernacles. Let me go ahead and stretch out the screen here, right? Family, you don't have to be in a temple to honor the Feast of Tabernacles. You don't have to have a temple to honor any of the Shabbats. Those that are within Christianity are being very deceptive when they tell you these things, because I can prove emphatically, I can prove without a shadow of a doubt, all the feast days were honored before Israel had their own land, well before the temple was built. Matter of fact, I can prove that they were honoring feast days before they left Egypt. Because guess what? Passover, that's in Egypt. But I'm going to highlight some additional information, and we'll get there. We'll cover it when I get there, because I'm going to really help you guys out with giving you some proper clarity, because Christianity has done a number on all of us, not just us as the people of descendants of the blood, ancient blood Israelites, right? The ancient Israelites, right? But they also did a number on many of their own people. Sometimes the best way to keep a delusion is by keeping many of your own family members in the dark, right? And many of you guys have done this before, want to do a surprise for your loved one, especially if you're married, you want to do a surprise get together for your spouse. And you know that certain people you just cannot tell. You cannot tell your children. You tell your children, guess what? They're going to let the word out. So that's how the same approach with these delusions, right? They know that there are collateral damage, right? In other words, many of their own people being in the dark as well is part of that collateral damage. So they don't have a problem with deceiving their own, just so that way they keep that deception, that delusion going strong. All right. So again, really appreciate you guys. And if you're in the Richmond, Virginia area and you want to come out and honor Tabernacles with us, feel free to come on out and shoot me an email. The email is on the banner in the ticker that's going across your screen. Feel free to reach out, come on out. Food is free. We don't charge. We never charge for any of the food. We never done that. Don't believe in charging people, when it comes to that. If you want to honor the feast, in other words, stay the night, let us know. And we'll make some arrangements. We have some extra tents as well. So again, if you're in the area, feel free to reach out to us. So don't worry about the cost in terms of food and those type of things, because we do not charge. Never have, never will. And even before we transition out of Christianity, when we would have church anniversary, guess what? We never charged. We never had fundraisers. We never had, pledges and all those different things. We've never had it, and have the proof that we've never done things like that. So, and other pastors will tell you we've never operated that way. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get inside the lesson. I know we got a lot to cover. So this is a late night playbook. And I know some of you guys may have to catch this lesson in the playback, but post your comments. Let's be respectful to one another. And even after this lesson concludes, post your comments inside the comment section, because that's how others are going to learn as well, by way of your comments. Share this video on your YouTube channel. If you guys have a YouTube channel that's watching, share it on your YouTube channel. If you have a Facebook account, share it on your Facebook account. And also, let's get those likes up to 100, at least 100 likes before the lesson concludes. And that'll help get us back for us, the algorithms and all that other stuff. So Feast of Tabernacles, you shall rejoice. The Feast of Tabernacles. And this is the ancient Hebrew pronunciation of Feast of Tabernacles. Chag Sakath. Let me say that again. Chag or Chaga Sakath, right? Many would say Sukkoth. Let me play this little clip here, just so that way you guys understand. For those that truly understand ancient Hebrew. Ancient Hebrew did not have the oo sounds and the o sounds. So let me play this clip real quick so that way you'll understand where I'm going at, because you have a lot of people that just for no reason want to hate on our community and do everything they can to try to mock and make fun. But let you hear a professor teaching about the vowels, but that O sound. Let you hear it with your ears. Let you bear witness. Here we go.
Here's a chart that summarizes vowel class and length. And you can see across the top the three classes, ah, e, and oo, and then down the side the four lengths, long, medium, short, and very short. So let's just go over this chart. We'll start with the ah class vowels. The long vowel is cholam vav, and you'll recall that this says O as in snow. Now you might wonder why an O vowel is in the ah class, and this is because of historical considerations. Originally there was no O sound in Hebrew. Everything that is a cholam vav used to be a long ah. If you know the Hebrew word for peace, it's shalom. If you know the Arabic word for peace, it's salam. And that long ah in Arabic is now an O in Hebrew. And so historically, cholam vav was a long ah class vowel, and that's why we put it here.
All right. So sometimes it's, our people, we have to hear from others in order for certain things to sink in. Now, am I knocking anyone that says shalom versus shalom? No, right? Because I understand what you mean. The ancient Hebrew is shalom when we greet each other, not shalom, right? Ancient Hebrew did not have the O sound. So if it didn't have the O sound, it means that it did not have a U sound, right? When you say A-E-I-O-U, that gives you an understanding of how the vowels evolved. All the ancient letters had the ah sound associated with them. So that's why you hear me say kag, sakath, right? Had the ah sound. That's why they didn't write out the vowels, because they understood that there was an ah sound associated with the consonants. Likewise, ancient Ga'az, which is pronounced geese today, and is referred to Amharic, initially did not have the vowels that we see of today. It just had the ah sound. But anyway, just want to just touch on that real quick for those that hear me say Kag, or if you hear me say Yahweh versus Yahweh, or some of the other names, Yahuwah, and again, I'm not knocking anyone. If you say Yahuwah versus Yahweh, if you say Yahweh, I'm not knocking you. Me, I'd rather hear that than to hear God. Why? Because God is a generic reference. That is a generic reference. That is a Norse word pointing to those Norse deities. That's a whole nother discussion. But when you say Yahweh, I understand. When I hear you say Yah, I understand. When I hear you say Yahuwah, I understand. When I hear you say Yahweh, I understand, because at least we are making an effort to reverence the true name of the Most High. All right. But anyway, so the feast days, Chag Sakath, that's the pronunciation. You shall rejoice. The Hebrew word for rejoice is shamak. Let me say it again. The Hebrew word for rejoice is shamak. And the Hebrew definition of shamak, this is what it means. It says to brighten up. Family, when you're dealing with opposition, especially the time that we're living in right now, because with the news and all these different things that we're hearing today, guess what? We need to brighten up, because it could really put a weight on your spirit when all you hearing over and over is bad news. You're hearing bad news. Someone got killed. Every time you turn around, you turn on the television, someone got killed. Someone did this. Someone did that. You go into a lot of these social media channels. A lot of negativity is being spewed over those channels. So brighten up, family. No matter how bad things may seem to be, guess what? It can always be worse. So when we really explain Feast of Tabernacles, Chag Sakath, right? This is going to help you understand that let's not take for granted. Let's thank the Most High for our humbling beginnings, because that's what I think about when I think about this feast day. Humble beginnings, small beginnings, right? And I'm not going to get into my testimony, but I can tell you straight up that with my testimony, I thank the Most High for my humble beginnings because I appreciate things right now. I grew up, I didn't know what China was because we didn't have a China cabinet. You know, we ate out of pie pans. We drank out of mayonnaise jars and jelly jars, right? We slept in a 2-bedroom apartment in the projects, right? Growing up in the Brick City, New Jersey, North New Jersey. Lived in Detroit for a couple of years. Lived in Harlem for a few years. Being moved from house to house. Didn't meet my family, my mother and my brothers and them until I was 7 years old because I was given away at 3 years old. Didn't meet my father till I was 14 years old. So I got a testimony. Didn't know I was poor until I went to church and the people told me, the adults told us that we were poor because they would tell us and make it known to us that we're wearing their children's clothing that they gave to my grandmother. So it's a lot of things that we had to go through. But guess what? There's someone watching right now that had to go through worse, right? Because at least me and my brothers, when we was sent from home to home for seasons after seasons, guess what? We had each other. And I thank the Most High for a praying grandmother. But anyway, brighten up, family. Shamak, it means to brighten up. Gleesome, cheer up. Joy, joyful. Be merry, make merry. Rejoice, cause to rejoice. Make to rejoice. So family, guess what? This is the time we're supposed to rejoice. We're supposed to rejoice. We're supposed to brighten up, right? Because we're going through this transition right now. You know, during this season, guess what's going to get ready to happen right towards the end of this season, right? Or this season that's getting ready to transition after we finish our high holy days. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to have the Wicca groups. We're going to have the Christian witches and all these different groups out here, these pagan groups. They're going to have their high holy days, which they refer to as Halloween, to try to purposely undo what we're doing right now. So guess what? This is where we have to brighten up. Shamak, brighten up, brighten up. Look at it from a perspective, no matter how bad things may be, it could be worse. Some of you guys may be complaining about your car, but guess what? There's someone that would love to have that car, that would love to have a car. Some of you guys may be complaining about your house, but there's someone out there that is homeless that would love to have your house. Some of you guys may be complaining about your spouse, but guess what? There's someone out there that is by themselves, and there's someone that will commit suicide because they don't have someone, a significant other in their life. So brighten up, family. No matter how bad you may think it is, it can always get worse. That's how I approach my situations that I deal with. You know, things can always get worse. You may not like the food, or you may not have all what you want on your table, but guess what? Thank the Most High, you have a table to eat at. You know, the kids may be getting on your nerves. Thank the Most High, you have seeds that your children around you. So always look at things from a way of the better, the good. Brighten up, family, right? So the etymology of rejoice, shamak. Let's go to the etymology dictionary, see what it says. Notice what it says: to own, possess, enjoy the possession of. Do you know sometimes we're the type of people, and y'all know what I'm talking about. You got some people that just don't know how to enjoy the good things. You know, when I came into this awakening, right, I would hear things like, man, how come there's no pastors out there teaching that we are the people of the book? How come there's no pastors that are teaching identity? How come there's no pastors that's teaching honoring the feast days and all these different things? But guess what? The few that are doing it, many of us attack them. How come we don't see any movies showing that there's a black Christ or a Christ that looked like you and I? But guess what? I present you with a film done by Blair Underwood, and many of our people, guess what? They don't know how to enjoy it. They want to critique it. They want to tear it down. operating in Deuteronomy 28, 28, right? A messed up mindset, right? Mentally challenged. Family, we got to learn how to enjoy the things that the Most High has given us to possess, to own. That's what rejoice, shamak, to own, possess, enjoy the possession of, have the fruition, be glad. Man, celebrate the Most High. Thank him for allowing you to see another day that was not promised. This is the day that Yahweh has made. And it didn't say I may, I might. It says I will rejoice. And not just rejoice, I will be what? Glad in it. Shamak. I will enjoy. I will take possession of this day. Right? I will take possession of this day. That's right, P Legal Intel. Yeah, I heard so many times growing up that I was in a cult. All of us is hearing the same thing, that we are in a cult. You know, we're the only people that we get referred to when we say we honor the Shabbat. Oh, you one of those people. You one of those Israelites. You one of those Israelite guys. You one of those Israelite people for honoring the Shabbat. And they use the term Israel in a negative context. So this tells you where we are today, right? The church has made the word Israel into a byword. The word church, or the church rather, has made the term Hebrew Israelite into a byword. The church and these so-called apologists have made the term Hebraism into a byword, when Hebraism simply means studying the doctrines of. And the church itself is practicing Hebraism. Why? Because the church did not write the law, statutes, and commandments. The church did not write what they call or deemed to be the Old Testament, but Christ and the disciples during their time, they referred to it as the law and the prophets. They didn't go this route of what we see in today. Today, Israel, Yashara'al, has been made into a byword. It's just like Deuteronomy 28 prophesied, right? You wanted those guys because you're honoring the Shabbat. You wanted those guys because you say to honor the law, statutes, and commandments. You wanted those guys because you honoring the feast days. You wanted those guys. No, that's what religion has done to our people. That's why I don't mess with that Christianity stuff. And guess what? That's why I refuse to call myself a Christian ever again, because of the foolishness that we see happening by so-called Christians. So-called Christians are the most slanderous people that are out there. The so-called Christians are the ones that that really defame, give evil reports on us, on others, because they have a sense of entitlement of being the big fish in a small pond right now. But that's going to change. But rejoice, family. Shamak, take possession. Take ownership of this day. Take ownership of this day. The joy of Yahweh, the joy of the Most High, is our strength. So guess what? You, Shamak, you take possession of your relationship with the Most High. Guess what? You take possession and enjoy the things that He is doing with you. You take possession of your identity. No matter what people say to you, don't walk away. Don't be ashamed of who you are, because guess what? Christ looked just like you. Christ said it. No servant is greater than the master. So he had to go through it. So we have to go through it, right? That's the word. So with that being said, count it all joy, like James wrote his letter to the scattered Israelites, right? Every time you want to know how much of an influence our heritage has, guess what? The entire world talks about us, right? The largest religious systems in the world, as far as Catholicism and Christianity, they are actually using our heritage, even though they jacked us for it, but they're using our works. They're using our traditions, things that was handed down. They're using that, right? No matter how much they want to talk bad about us, but guess what? They're using our material, right? James chapter 1 tells us he wrote that letter to the scattered who? Israelites, not the church, the scattered Israelites, right? So anyway, Rejoice, family. Shamak, right? Rejoice. It goes on to say originally sense in means to rejoice in, to be full of joy. Family, be full of joy. You guys should be full of joy right now, even just the little bit we shared so far. And I'm not trying to get into a get preachy tonight, but you guys should be rejoicing. You guys should be celebrating. You guys should be ready to do this tonight. That's right. You should be ready to do that. You should be ready to shout for joy. You should be able to shout for joy. Don't deny who you are. Be proud of who you are. Guess what? I'm going to give you some information that's going to help you minister to those loved ones. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Halala wa ya. That's the ancient pronunciation of halala wa ya. Anyway, the etymology dictionary definition of joy. We saw rejoice, right? Now we're going to see joy, because when we look here, right, we see joy, right? But you have to understand the prefix here, re, right? Re, if you do the understanding or the etymology of re, it means to get back to the original place by what? Undoing stuff. So we see joy, rejoy, getting back to that original place. Let's go right here, man. Guys, get back to that original place, rejoy, right? In order to get back to this place right here, feeling of pleasure and delight, you're going to have to undo some things, family. You may have to let some people go. You may have to let some things that are laying around your house go. Souvenirs of broken relationships, let it go. Souvenirs of people hating on you, let it go. Delete emails, accounts, block people. You may have to do those things, but getting back to that original place. In order to get back to the original place, you have to give up things. So in order to be glad, you're going to have to give up that spirit of bitterness in order to have that inward joy. As you see here, guess what? That's a heart thing. That's a circumcision of the heart that Moses talked about, right? In Deuteronomy several times. It didn't start with Jeremiah 31. It started well before then. Actually, the circumcision of the heart. Guess what? You could go beyond Abraham. You could go beyond the forefathers of Israel, our forefathers, right? A change of heart, right? Adam had a change of heart, right? When he sinned, guess what? He learned, the Most High taught him how to do burnt offerings. So guess what? That means he had to have a change of heart. So family, again, shamak, inward joy. See, you have a lot of people that are faking the funk, right? A lot of people look like they have that inward joy because in the church, many of us were taught to fake it till you make it. That's the problem. There's too many people in the church that are faking it. There are a lot of people in church that are hurt. There's a lot of people that are in church that are pretending that they have joy, but they are some of the most miserable people because they have nothing better to do. This is the proof. To spend their time, no other things to do, to occupy their time, but to talk about us. Guess what? There's so many people that we own property in. I got so many mortgages out there, right? I own so much property because so many people have purpose in their mind that they're going to what? Wake up today and talk about me. Wake up today and talk about you. Wake up today and talk about us. Family, like the old saying says, hey, don't worry about when they're talking about you, whether it's good or bad. Be concerned when they stop talking about you, because when they stop talking about you, are you still doing the things of the Most High? Are you still doing the work? All right. So Leviticus chapter 23, let's go here. Verse 33 through 35. Let's get it in. All right. Get ready to go a little geek mode on you guys. Verse 33, and Yahweh spake, Dabar, that's inside this when you go to the ancient Hebrew, because it's not just spake, but it's also command. Right? You see the word command here with Dabar, and Yahweh commanded Moses, right? Or Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, the 15th day of this 7th month shall be the feast, Chag, of Tabernacles,
Sakath, right? For 7 days unto Yahweh. Let me read it again. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, Mashah, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, the 15th day of the 7th month shall be, right? It's not saying an option. It shall be the feast, Chag, of Tabernacles, Sakath, for 7 days unto Yahweh. Verse 35. On the first day shall be an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. Notice what it says. A holy, Quadash, convocation, Maquara. And Quara is the primitive root, or Quara, which means to call, right? To call on. Guess what, family? And this is how you can bust out your family members that are in the church right now. If they could have holy convocation, come on, Kojic people, y'all know what I'm talking about. Holy convocation, ultimately going out to Memphis, Tennessee, holy convocation, when you have the state holy convocations going on, you have the national convocations going on, you have your districts going on. You know what I'm talking about, especially if you guys are here in Virginia. You have the state, you also have the districts, man, going out to Roanoke and all that other stuff. Man, if you're in the apostolic ministry, you guys know what a holy convocation is. You done heard this term inside the church. Far as the Baptist churches. Now, many, especially when you deal with black churches, many of the Baptist churches are part of the National Baptist Convention. The church I grew up in was part of the National Baptist Convention, right? But I was in Kojic too, and I had a lot of Kojic pastors in my family, a lot of holiness pastors in my family, a lot of apostolic pastors and elders in my family. So if they can go to a man-made holy convocation religiously, why can't they honor the convocation of the Most High? Because guess what? The feast days, they are a holy convocation. You'll see this not just in this passage, you'll see it throughout this particular chapter, right? So the Feast of Tabernacles, it says on the first day shall be an holy convocation. So on the first day of this feast, right, because it's 8 days, the first day, it's going to be a Shabbat, and it's going to be a holy convocation. We all going to cry out together to set the tone. Cry out to who? The Father. Remember, when we taught on the blowing of the trumpets, and I encourage you guys, go back and watch that lesson. I laid out what it means, blowing of the trumpets. It means to let out a war cry. Hallelujah. A war cry, split the ears, like let out a shout that split the ears of the enemy. Come on, family, because the enemy, we all, most of us quote Psalms, the 83rd book of Psalms, right? And don't realize when you see that word tumult, the Hebrew word is hama, right? Tumult actually means a war cry, right? It also means a slogan, right? That is used to rally a group of people. We see the slogans before us. The word Israel became a slogan now. Hebrew has become a slogan now. Hebrew Israelism, a bunch of nonsense. Those things have become slogans now. But you could go to the etymology of the words and you'll see it points to Israel. So the very things that should be a blessing, right? The haters have made it into a curse. But guess what? If you, while you were in church, if you were doing those holy convocations, you can honor the feast days of the Most High, right? So this is the 7th month. This is from the calendar. I have reconstructed the calendar based off of scriptures and historical documentation. I was able to come on research. So I actually recreated the very first year, the very first Hebrew calendar year, and the lesson, if you go to We Woke Now, go to the playlist that says foundational, you'll see 3 lessons that deals with the resurrection. And I break down how to reconstruct the calendar, right? But anyway, so this is just a construction of that. And this is the feast days from last year. I didn't update it for this year. So guess what? The first of the month on the very first Hebrew calendar would have fallen on, as you see here, on a Shabbat, right? And we see here last year, according to the Gregorian calendar, it was on the 9th, beginning at sunset on the 8th, right? This is the Gregorian calendar dates. Oops, excuse me. These are Gregorian calendar dates, but this is the actual ancient Hebrew calendar date here. All right. So I just want to make that clear. So we see here, right? Feast of Tabernacles, right? As we just highlighted, the 15th day, this is supposed to be a holy convocation. And as you see here, the very first calendar, it fell on the Shabbat. And Shabbat doesn't just mean rest, it means celebration. So guess what? This first day of this holy convocation it is a Shabbat. To do what? Celebrate who? The Most High. See, this is how we can knock down a lot of the poor teachings that are circulating, starting with Christianity, how Christianity is teaching this. So what does it mean to be holy? Because it said holy convocation. Let's break down this word holy real quick, right? Before we get into the definition, but I want to just share with you each individual word, because if you understand ancient Hebrew, and for those that are not familiar with, I have a Patreon account, and I'll get that back going because I know I've been very busy with trying to get this road to Savannah done. But I'm going to get back to the Hebrew lessons. There's some Hebrew lessons there. I got 5 more. Actually 4 more. I'm going to post over the next few weeks. I want to get 10 lessons up on there, and then we'll do some honing in on some keywords, or periodically just keywords, just so showing you how to memorize and showing you how to study Hebrew, systematically go into the text and really be able to pull out and get the proper meaning of what you're reading. So with that being said, right, what you see here, this is the Hebrew word quadash, right? And the key here, when you understand ancient Hebrew, each individual letter is a syllable. Each letter has a meaning. So in Hebrew, of course, when you see the Strongs that I use when I'm doing my presentations, you will see that term primitive root word. In other words, the original root word. But actually, when you understand ancient Hebrew, it's not just a primitive root word. You actually have a primitive root letter that that words are formed off of. So we see here, starting here with the word quadash, right? Quadash, you also have quadasha, right? Quadash means holy, but it also can refer to holy men, right? Then when you see quadasha, it can also refer to holy women. So guess what, women? If you want to use a word that describes you as being holy, quadasha, right? That is the feminine word for holy. Now, when you understand Hebrew, right? If I'm speaking and I'm speaking to all women, guess what? I use the word quadasha because that's the feminine. But if I'm speaking to a mixed congregation, women and men, I'll use quadash, the masculine plural. The masculine word. So there's different things that I could go into to really go geek mode. I'm trying not to go geek mode, even though I'm getting there a little bit. But again, quadash, the very first letter, circle, horizon, balance. Guess what? In order to be holy, in order to be set apart, in order to be consecrated, in order to be ordained, I'm just giving you the definition of quadash. Guess what? You have to have balance, right? If you turn this 45 degrees, right, clockwise, this will look like a sunset, and it'll also look like a horizon. So it means circle, it means balance, right? This also is a sundial. And you'll learn about this, and I encourage you guys, watch the lesson I did on the resurrection. I really break this letter down here, right? But anyway, the next letter we see here is the dalath, which means door, gate, lid, right? So guess what? It means focus. If you're saying that you're holy, you got to be focused. If you say you have the Holy Spirit, you have to be focused. Because what we see here today is a lot of distractions trying to cause us to lose our focus. So that's why I made it a point not to entertain any more conversations, entertain any type of discussions. I'm staying focused on the things of the Most High. I'm staying focused. And if you took the ion, which is a circle, right? It also means eye. And if you place this dalath over it, it'll look like an eyelid. Because again, this is a lid, like your eyes, but also it's the door, right? Your entrance, right? That blocks the entrance, secure the entrance to your house, right? So to be holy, quadash, you have to have balance, right? Here you also have what? To be focused, and you have to understand that you're a tool of the Most High to speak His word, right? A tool, teeth, tool, shan, right? So quadash. So In the Israeli language, this letter makes two different sounds. In the Israeli language, if the nukud, the dot is to the right, it makes a sh sound. If it's to the left, it makes a s sound. In ancient Hebrew, no, you don't have to worry about none of that confusion. You don't have to pronounce these marks of men, right? Because it just makes one sound, which is the sha. So quadash or quadasha with the ha at the end, that'll refer to holy women. But anyway, let's see what it means. I gave you the answer, but let's see what it means. Let's bring it all together. Notice what it says. Quadash, clean, consecrate, dedicate, right? Keep, proclaim, purify, sanctify, sanctified, sanctified one, sanctified self. All right. So holy, quadash, means clean. It means consecrate. It means dedicate. It means proclaim. It means purify. It means sanctify, keep, right? Shamar, keep, right? Adam, that's one of the responsibilities of the priest, right? Adam had two responsibilities: to dress, abad or abada, right? The garden, cultivate, promote the spirit of growth, right? And then also to keep, right? Shamar, right? Means to execute, right? The things that the Most High has instructed him to do. So guess what? We're supposed to be holy. We're supposed to be clean, consecrated, dedicated to the Most High, proclaiming his goodness, be purified, sanctified, and also guess what? Keep, in other words, execute the things of the Most High. What is a convocation? Let me give you the word here. This is the word right here for convocation. You see the mayam, the quap, right? The ra'ash and the alap, right? This letter means water, sea, danger, transition, the mayam, right? We see again, quap, circle, horizon, balance, ra'ash, head, top, rank, beginning, the alap, leader, strength, power, teach. But this is the Hebrew word for convocation, right? So again, mayam means water, sea, danger, transition. All right, but let's go to Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 10. And I hope you grab hold of this here, because I'm going to tie it in together, right? For then will I turn to the people a pure barawar language, or some will pronounce it barwar language, shapa, that they may call. All right, remember what I said? Maquara, it means convocation, but it means call. But this is a corporate call. So we see here, Israel says that they may all call. This is referring to Israel. They may all call upon the name Hashem Yahweh to serve Abad or Abadah, him with one consent. Akkad Shakam, right? From beyond Ibar, the rivers of Ethiopia. Kawash, in the Israeli language, Cush, my suppliants, even the daughters of my dispersed shall bring mine offering. But the key here, it says the Most High, he didn't say he's going to give us a new language, because many teach that the Most High is going to give us a new language. No, he's going to clean up our language, starting with our heart, right? That's what it means here. I will turn to the people a pure barwar or barawar language, shapa, that they may all call upon the name Hashem Yahweh to serve him with one consent. Akkad Shakam. All right, one consent. So this is the Most High saying he's gonna touch our hearts. He's going to start cleaning our hearts, right? Changing our hearts, circumcision of the heart. That's going to cause us to come together with one voice, together, akkad, and do what? Call upon the Most High, like Israel always did every time they got into a captivity or a situation, right? So we're going to come together. We're going to call, right, upon the name, call, right, quara, but convocation, ma quara. That's a corporate call, okay? So the Hebrew definition of water, as we talked about, we see nahar here. It means a stream, flood, river. Keep this in mind. Key prophecy about the flood. Isaiah 59, verse 19. And this is why it's important. And I'm tying this all into it so we can learn how to what? Shamak. It says, so shall they fear the name of Yahweh from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun, when the enemy, Tazar or Sar, shall come in Bawal or Bawa'al, excuse me, Bawa'ah, like a flood. Nahar, the spirit of Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him. So guess what? When Hasatan comes in and enter in like a flood, this occupying everything, trying to take you off of your focus of being on the Most High, guess what? The Most High said he's going to lift up, he's going to raise the standard. He's going to raise the standard. That's what he's doing right now. So that flood, when the flood comes, it's coming to what? Take over and occupy. It's reaching everything, right? It's coming to wipe out everything. But guess what? The Most High said he's gonna lift up the threshold, so that he's gonna lift the standards of. In other words, take the standards to a place where as though the flood can't even get to. All right. So this is what we have to understand. I got you, my brother Jay Highstyle said I can't help but to go in geek mode, but it's okay. I know I'm a geek, right? And let's give love to Yaquaba for the blessings. Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you for the love and support. And if I missed anyone, family, let's show them some love as well. And moderators, if I missed anyone, just make sure we acknowledge them. Anyone that contributes to this channel, let's make sure we show some love to them. And moderators, make sure you shoot me your email and all that stuff offline, because I want to give some special gifts to you guys. All right. But with that being said, let's go ahead and continue here. All right. So Hebrew definition of convocation. Notice what this says. Something called out. Come on, family. Something called out. A rehearsal, assembly, calling. Wait a minute. So the Most High said that the first day, right, of honoring the feast days, right, the first day, and we see this all through the 23rd chapter, it says it is a convocation, ma quara, right? Mikra inside with the Israeli language, but something called out. Wait a minute. Something called out, a rehearsal, assembly, calling. Who is that something called out? Guess what? Let me break down that something called out, because convocation, maquara or maquara'a, means something called out. Let's break down something called out. The Greek definition of something called out. Let's see what the Greek definition of the Greek word for something called out. Now, I believe that word is ecclesia, or some would say ecclesia. Let's see. Let's confirm this. Notice this here. It says a calling out. I don't like this religious congregation. I don't like that definition, Christian and all that other stuff. Nah, because we're not called a church. Israel was not called a church, right? That's a 4th century construct that was added. The Celtics used that for their place of worship. But again, a calling out is what we want to focus on. Assembly is the other. But let's go into the in-depth definition, and this is in the background, so I don't want anyone to think that I'm manipulating the data here, right? But notice here, entry number 1, a gathering of citizens called out from their homes. But notice under here, the sub-entry of this sub-entry, it says the assembly of the Israelites. So when the Messiah said, on this rock I'm going to build, and your translation says church, that's not correct. Actually, if you go to Exodus chapter 12, verse 6, I believe, you'll see the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel, right? In ancient Hebrew, it'd be kal, quahal, right? Or ha quahal, idath, yasharallah, right? In other words, yasharallah, rather, which is the whole assembly of witnesses, not just the whole assembly of congregation, because that could be interchangeable. That could be synonymous, right? Assembly and congregation. No, the whole assembly of witnesses. So as we see here in this in-depth definition, we see the assembly of the Israelites, because that's who the Messiah is referring to when he said, on this rock, I will build my what? Assembly, my called out assembly of witnesses, the Israelites, because we could confirm that, because he said he did not come but to bring salvation to the Israelites, restore Israel. That's Matthew chapter 15. So it wasn't this generic thing, this of the way that we're taught, right? That's not what, that's what the church teach. Oh, that's the church. The church is all through there. The word church is all through there. That's a word of confusion. That is a generic word. The Messiah did not die for a church. The Messiah came to die for his people, to bring salvation to his people, to restore hope to a group of people that was declared unsalvageable, to salvage his people, the lost assembly of who? The Israelites. And let me make sure you see this in the background. The assembly of the Israelites, a gathering of citizens called out from their homes into some public place, an assembly. But specifically, what the Messiah is dealing with is the assembly of his people, the Israelites. He wasn't dealing with this generic term like that same passage that the Roman Catholics use to try to say that Peter was the first pope and all this other nonsense. So Exodus chapter 12, verse 3, let's go here. Let's see what it says. Speak ye unto all. Now we see here in the third verse, we see all the congregation of Israel, right? So speak ye unto all. Let me say it again. Speak ye unto all, call the congregation, idoth. In other words, actually all, right? The witnesses of Israel, right? Yashara'al, right? But if we go back here, let me see if it's here. Notice what you see here. The whole assembly, that as I quoted, verse 6, right? The whole assembly, let me say it again. Kal, Quahal, Idav, Yashara'al. All right. That's what it says here. That's what the whole assembly of witnesses, right? But this is verse 3, right? The whole, all the witnesses of Israel. That's what it really means. And I'm going to prove it here. This is the first time in that you see this term used to describe an entire assembly. Idoth is the word that you see here, right? Notice what you see here, right? Here it says Ada, but notice what it says, a witness, testimony, a recorder. That's what this word means. Not congregation, it means witness. Guess what, Israel? Each and every one of you guys, you are a witness of the Most High. Each one of us are witnesses. We are a kingdom of witnesses. We are also a kingdom of priests. We are also a kingdom of prophets, right? I believe Exodus 19, kingdom of priests, right? But then when you go to Numbers chapter 11, you'll see prophets. Moses said, hey, if I had it my way, all of Israel would be prophets. Didn't Paul quote that same thing? Anyway, we all supposed to be prophets. In other words, being able to speak the things of the Most High. We all are his witnesses. Israel, we are the witness, right? That's what the crafty council wants to erase. We are the witnesses, family. So again, right? Ida or Idath. It says a witness, testimony, a recorder. But let's confirm this, right? Let's confirm this with the letters because I'm going to show you just with the definition. Let's go back here. A witness, testimony, recorder. Now, in the ancient Hebrew, you'll see Idath, right? Some would say, hey, this thigh at the end means of. No, I ain't buying it, right? Especially with the studies that I have done, extensive studies that I've done. And I'm going to prove it here. Congregation means a witness of people, evidence. Now, let's break it down. Here's each letter. I'm going to show that each letter is giving you the definition of what a good witness is. Idath. First of all, a good witness has to have eyesight, right? Eyesight, watch, right? Then you have the dalath. Remember the dalath, and I'm going to show you something real quick. Let me do it on my end. I'm going to show you something real quick. I'm going to put that dalath over the ayan. And what's interesting, the ayan is silent, but I'm going to put it over here so you can see the imagery. It's going to move it for you. And I'm going to put it back here, right? I'm going to do this here. I'm going to little geek mode, right? Right? So now you see what I was saying. This look, now if I deleted this angle here, right? Or if I did it like this, right? Let's put it in the back here. Right? Doesn't that look like an eyelid now? Now you see the illustration here, right? I'm showing you all in the letters. Now that looks like an eyelid type 1. See, family, I'm showing you the importance of each one of these letters. Each one of these letters. This is why it's important to learn these letters. You don't have to be a master of the language, but you learn these key letters. It's going to help you tremendously in your understanding of the text. If that looks like an I with a lid, type 1. If it doesn't, type 2. Right? I wouldn't be mad at you. But again, it looks like a lid. It looks like a I. That's why it says it's a lid, right? The first letter, ayan, which is silent in the Israeli language, I, sight, watch. But then when we get over here, right, this little this dalath, and I'm gonna put it back over to where it needs to be, right? It means door, gate, lid. So guess what? For starters, a good witness, you have to have what? Good vision, right? A good witness, you have to be focused on what you're watching, what you're seeing, what you're recording. A good witness, as we get to the tha, as it says here, the tha means sign, mark, evidence, right? So when we bring this all together, right, a good witness, right, you're supposed to have clear vision. You're supposed to be focused on what you're watching or what you're recording. And guess what? To be the sign, the mark, the evidence. What is the sign, the mark, the evidence? In your playback, right? The sign, the mark, the evidence is in your playback, right? See, if I got my book in front of me, right? My board, I can't find my marker. I would give you an illustration. I like to draw. So I would draw on my board here, so that way I could give the proper illustration. So you can see that the dalath looks like an eyelid. If we erase the triangle, this portion of it, and put that line here, it's going to look like an eyelid covering an eye. But anyway, so eyesight, watch, right? This is a good witness. Eyesight, watch, right? Door, gate, lid, focus, sign, mark, evidence. So a good witness, right? You're only good based upon your recording. The only way you're going to know that you are a good witness is based upon the playback, right? I'm old school, right? Back in the 80s, right? When I used to do my little recording off the radios, right? Back in the 80s, you know, some of you guys remember that, the 2020 radios and all that stuff. Man, when I used to listen to Super Rock and Mr. Magic, right? You know, WHBI recording the hip hop songs off of there, right? We used to have our cassette tapes. You know, I remember being a little kid having a cassette tape and hit that record button and fall asleep. At least I thought I hit the record button, but I wouldn't know that it was a bad recording until what? I play it back. See, if you say you're a good witness, the proof would be in the playback. Let me say that again. If you say that you are a good witness, the proof is in the playback. So Judgment Day is going to be the Most High playing back. That's why he says that we're going to be what? Judged by every word, every idle word that comes out of our mouth. So there's a recording, right? We are recorders, but the key is the playback. What's going to happen when the Most High play back the words that have come out of your mouth? See, that's a good witness. A good witness is based on what? The good recording. Right? So that's what it means. We are supposed to be recorders. That's what it said in the definition. Let me go back here. Right? Let me go back here. Right? As you see here, a witness, testimony, a recorder. So individually, we're supposed to be recorders, right? Collectively, as a nation, we're supposed to be recorders. So who are the witnesses? Who are the Idath? Who are the Ha-Quahal? Idath, Yashara'al? Who are the witness? Who of the people? Who are we? Who are the witness? Guess what? We are Israel. We are the whole Kal assembly, Quahal of the congregation, or should I say witnesses, Idath, Yashara'al. We are the witnesses, family. We are the witnesses, family. So the Hebrew definition of assembly, let me break that down real quick. As you see here, Quahal, right? So I'm going to say it again. For those that are watching, those haters that are watching, don't slander, right? Don't defame, because we don't refer to ourselves as a Hebrew Israelite or Hebrew Israelism or whatever assembly. We refer to ourselves as the whole assembly of witnesses, the Israelites, right? We're not an Israelite assembly. We're not a religion, right? We're not a church. We are the whole assembly of witnesses, the Israelites. And the name of our ministry is Passion for Reconciliation Ministries. Right? See, this is what happens when you're dealing with people that have a foul spirit. They want to slander, they want to attach byword or make bywords, and push bywords so people will make our testimonies and attempt to make our testimonies good for nothing. Guess what, family? That's who we are. That's what we should be calling ourselves. We should not be calling ourselves any other names but the assembly of witnesses. The Israelites, that's what we should be referring to ourselves. We should not be referring to ourselves and all these other stuff. We're the whole assembly of witnesses, the Israelites. Anyway, I know I'm going a little geek mode. So when was the Feast of Tabernacles? Let's go here. When was the Feast of Tabernacles? Was the Feast of Tabernacles in the wilderness? These are some questions we're going to ask. Let me go back here. When was the Feast of Tabernacle? Right? The next question, was the Feast of Tabernacles in the wilderness? All right, we're going to answer these questions. Let's go to Exodus chapter 5, verse 1 through 3. Oh, we getting ready to get into some really, really deep stuff right here. Right? We're getting ready to go into some deep stuff right here. All right. Some deep stuff right here. Right? Let me see here. I see a question here. I want to say peace and blessings to Dr. Rogers. Appreciate you for watching the presentation. Pretty much what I was using. And when you go back and watch it in the playback, I can't spend too much time on this. But when you see me giving the letters, I'm just explaining each Hebrew letter and showing how each Hebrew letter ties into the overall meaning of that word. For example, when I shared Quadash, I shared the Quap, I shared the Dalath, and I shared the Shan, and I gave the definition of each letter and showing how it ties right into the overall definition, right? Same thing when I did Makwara, right? Showing how each letter gives you the actual definition of the word. So that's what I was discussing, but you have to go a little further back so that way you can actually get the full understanding of where I'm going at with it. But what I was teaching is that each letter has a meaning. Each Hebrew letter has a meaning, right? Each Hebrew letter in ancient Hebrew is a syllable, right? Is a syllable, and it has a meaning. And instead of having primitive root words, like you're taught in Hebrew, primitive root words, actually it's primitive root letters. But that's pretty much in a nutshell. So appreciate you, Doctor, for watching the presentation tonight. Thank you for the love and support. Really appreciate you. And I may try to drop it in the link, a full link of me really going into some of the ancient Hebrew letters, really going into depth with explaining that. So appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Thank you again. All right. Appreciate you, Sister Kelly Perry. Thank you. Really appreciate you. Yahoo will never refer to us as Israelites. That is not a byword. And ma'am, and this is family, this is why I'm not trying to be disrespectful to you, sis. If we're going to go here, right, the Most High never referred to you as Kelly Perry, right? Israelite is a transliteration. We know this, right? And it's inside our text. If we get to that point, then guess what? Then we're going to get into a place where as though we can't use none of the words, because I just expressed that Yahuwah, truth be told, I can prove that there was no U sounds in ancient Hebrew, but you're using Yahuwah. We're not making it into a big deal because we're all getting this thing down together, right? Yisrael, guess what? There was no there was no L sound, right? Where did L come from, right? Actually, it was Allah. And I'm saying that for a reason, that if we want to go into this right here, we can go right down a dangerous path. a dangerous place to where as though we can literally pick each other apart, right? The Most High never called me Kelly. Most High never used Yisrael, because Yisrael is not ancient Hebrew. It's actually Yashara'al, right? But guess what? We're still putting this thing together. Israelite is not a byword. Israel is not a byword, because you said Yisrael. Israel comes from Yisrael. So I'm gonna leave that alone, but I just want to just make it clear. Let's not get into those specifics, because then we could really go down a very dangerous path and start making everything into a byword and actually bring more confusion. But I want to just say thank you, Brew Queen Israel. Really appreciate your gift tonight. Thank you. And family, let's show some love for the token of appreciation that Brew Queen Israel blessed us with tonight. Thank you, sis. Really appreciate you. So family, again, I'm not trying to knock anything that anyone is saying, because whether you say Israel, whether you say Yisrael, whether you say Yashara'al, at least we're making an effort to use the words in its proper context. If you say Yahuwah versus Yahweh versus Yahweh, I'm not going to get mad, because I know what you mean. At least we're being more specific versus using generic labels like God. God is a generic term. All right. So sis, I hope you don't take offense to it, but I just want to give clarity. So with that being said, family, let's be respectful. We're going to keep it moving here. All right. So let's go to Exodus chapter 5, verse 1 through 3. This is some key information right here. This is some power. This is a powerful revelation I'm going to share with you guys. Exodus chapter 5, verse 1 through 3. Right. I taught this internally in our assembly, but this is actually the first time I'm teaching this publicly. Right. I've been teaching this for years, but notice what it says here. This passage right here really debunks, right, what the church has taught us by saying that we don't have to honor the feast days, but yet they're honoring Christmas. Christmas is a feast day in Christianity. We don't have to honor the feast days, but Thanksgiving is a what? Feast day within Christianity, within the church. We don't have to honor the feast days, but yet they're doing Easter. Easter is a feast day inside the church. Those are all based on what? Pagan holidays. They're utilizing, celebrating Valentine's Day, celebrating St. Patrick's Day, celebrating Memorial Day, celebrating Labor Day. All these different days. And guess what? This weekend is a Columbus Day. Especially if you work in the government agencies, this is some will be a 4-day weekend. So so again, here, this is going to prove to you that that they were honoring the Shabbat even before here. And I'm going to prove it here. After it says, and afterwards, Moses and Aaron, Mashah and Aharon went in and told Pharaoh, thus saith Yahweh Elohim. Some of you guys will say Yahuwah or Yahweh Elohim. Guess what? No love lost here, because we all know what we mean here, right? So thus saith Yahweh Elohim, or some of you guys would say Elohim, of Israel, let my people go, that they may hold a feast. Wait a minute. Kagawa, let me go back here. That they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness. I hope y'all grabbed hold of this right here. Let me read that again. I hope you guys really caught this here. It says, and afterwards, Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh, thus said Yahweh Elohim of Israel, let my people go, that they may hold a feast. Remember, we just highlighted Kag, but in this text, you'll see Kaga, right? A feast unto me in the wilderness, right? In the wilderness. Madabar. Now, this is backwards here, right? Apologies. This is backwards. It's Madabar. Some would say Midbar in the Israeli pronunciation of it, but Madabar. Madabar. The primitive root word is dabar, which means command. It transliterates sometimes to said, to speak, right? But anyway, so That's key, right? Moses and Aaron, under the instructions of the Most High, made a request to Pharaoh, said, let my people go that they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness. And Pharaoh said, who is Yahweh? Oh, wait a minute. See, this is also will knock down a lot of this Kemet stuff. It'll knock down a lot of this Kemetic stuff right here. Because in Kemet, they try to say, Israel took the gods of the Egyptians. But we see Pharaoh here saying he don't know who Yahweh is. He says it right here. He doesn't know who Yahweh is. But again, let's go back here, family. I really want to make sure you make a note of this. Verse 1. Highlight this in your Bible. Highlight this in your Bible app if you have a Bible app. But if you old school, I like to have my old school Bible. I'm sorry, guys. I still like to pull out my ink pen and highlight and all that other stuff. So let my people go that they may hold a fast unto me in the wilderness, because we're going to get back to this here. It goes on to say, and Pharaoh said, who is Yahweh that I should obey his voice to let Israel go? I know not Yahweh, neither will I let Israel go. So Pharaoh, right, the Egyptian king, who's viewed as a deity in the Egyptian culture, said he don't know who Yah is. He don't know who Yah is. He said, who is Yah? Who is Yahweh? Right? He said, who is he? I don't know who that person is. I don't know who that deity is, rather. Neither will I let Israel go. Verse 3. And they said, Elohim of the Hebrews. In other words, the Most High of the Hebrews hath met with us. Let us go, we pray thee. Notice this key highlight. 3 days journey into the desert. Wait a minute. So he said, let us go 3 days. But the journey from Goshen to the promised land is 11 days. But why only 3 days here? Said, let us go 3 days journey into the desert and sacrifice unto Yahweh our Elohim, lest he fall upon us with pestilence or the sword, or with the sword. Family, we got some nuggets here, and I'm going to prove to you what this feast day is. We know that it's not the Passover because the Passover didn't happen yet. We know it's not the Day of Atonement because the Day of Atonement is not a feast day. It's a Shabbat, but it's not a feast day. We know it's not the blowing of the trumpets because the blowing of the trumpets is a Shabbat, but it's not a feast day. We know they're not dealing with any of those. But notice what we see here. Also make a note where it says here, lest he fall upon us with pestilence or with sword. So they want to go into the desert. It's going to take them 3 days to get there. So that way they can sacrifice. They can have a festival, a feast day, Chag, a celebration to honor the Father. So 2 things here. They want to go there because the feast days are Shabbats. So they want to honor the Shabbat. Wait a minute. So Israel is honoring the Shabbat, and Egypt, I'm proving it right here. Just these passages. They have a desire to honor the Shabbat. Oh, but make a note here. Lest he fall upon us with pestilence or with the sword. So it said, if we don't honor this feast day, look at the punishment that's going to come. A pestilence, in other words, plagues and death. So my Sabbaths or Shabbats, ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations. That is coming from, and I'm quoting Exodus chapter 31. And I encourage you guys to read the entire chapter, because in Exodus 31, it says this, that the Shabbats, they are a sign. And remember, sign means proof. It means evidence, right? So guess what? We have some great signs that the Most High has given us on his Shabbats, starting with the resurrection of Hamashiach. The resurrection occurred on the Shabbat. Did not occur on Sunday or the first day of the week. It occurred on, his resurrection occurred on the Shabbat. Another miraculous thing happened on the Shabbat. The disciples, right? The Messiah transfigured in front of them. He revealed himself in front of them, right? And it says after 6 days, right? But after 6 days of them working. So that means on the seventh day, the Messiah revealed himself to them. They saw the full glory of the Messiah. I could go right down the list on some other signs, some key signs that occurred on the Shabbat. But now we see that here we says my Sabbath, my Shabbats. So we know the seventh day, right, is a Shabbat, but also we know the feast days are Shabbats. So guess what? The non-blood descendants of Israel are supposed to honor the Shabbats. That's Isaiah 56, either 56 or 53. I believe it's 56 when it talks about the sons of strangers honoring his covenant and not profaning the Shabbats. The 7-day Shabbat is included under the covenant. The 10 Commandments is the covenant. Now, when you see Shabbats like you see here, we're not just dealing with the seventh day, but we're also dealing with the feast days. And you'll see that in Exodus chapter 31. But let's go to verse 5. Back to chapter 5. And let's highlight verse 4 and 5. I'm going to give you clarity here. It says, and the king of Egypt said unto them, wherefore do ye, Moses and Aaron, let the people from their works? He's saying you want to have a Shabbat. You see, it's right in front of his family. He says, and the king of Egypt said unto them, wherefore do ye, Moses and Aharon, let the people from their works get you unto your burdens. So guess what? Pharaoh said, it's telling Moses, I'm not going to let them honor the Shabbat. Because notice this here, family, verse 5. And Pharaoh said, behold, the people of the land now are many, and ye make them rest from their burdens. Notice what it says. And ye make them rest. Shabbat. You want them to have a Shabbat from their burdens. You want them to take a break in between this hard labor. You want them to rest on the seventh day. You want them to go up into the wilderness. Number one, is going to take a 3-day journey to get there, but you want them to get there and honor the Shabbat and have a feast day to the Most High. See, in the ancient Hebrew, you'll see the word Shabbat. See, family, this right here, I'm proving with just this text alone, it completely obliterates the theologies that we've been deceived with. We see here, they're dealing with the feast day, and we're gonna deal with the feast day, which one in particular. But Pharaoh said, hey, you want me to let them honor the Shabbat? You want them to go out and have a feast day, celebrate the Most High? You want them to take a rest? You want them to have separation, to be removed from their burdens? That's what he's saying right here. So Yahweh instructed Moses and Aaron to allow the Israelites to go into the wilderness to honor him by a feast, right? What feast was it? What is the feast? Let me give you another nugget here, right? Let's go to Jubilees. Let's go to Jubilees. And this is one of what is called the pseudepigraphal book, right? This particular book is also referred to the little Genesis, so to speak. Genesis means in the beginning, right? So I'm using this because even though I know that there's certain things inside this book and some of the other books that are not included in the canonization, but have great information, some great historical context. Many of it, some of it has some contradictions of Torah, which is the first 5 books within your Bible. But guess what, family? There's still some historical information we can extract from here. You know, Jasher, there's 2 books of Jasher that's circulating. Both of those are forgeries. right? One was written by the Jewish community as we know them, and the other was written by the Mormons, right? The book of Jasher existed, but there's only fragments, not enough to make a whole book that we see today. But guess what? There's some, with Jubilees, the reason why I say this is we could use this as a source is because it was written back in between 105 to 110 BC, right? And there's some historical information we can extract out of this. And I'm not knocking it. Like you have Enoch. You also have some other books that are not included in the canonization. When I say that, I'm including the Apocrypha because the Apocrypha up until the 16th century, it included the Apocrypha. The canonization included the Apocrypha. The Ethiopian Bible includes the Apocrypha, right? So I'm not knocking anyone that used Jubilees, the Book of Jubilees, but I'm just saying I use it as a historical reference, but I don't primarily teach out of this, right? And I'm not knocking anyone that does. But let's go to the Book of Jubilees. Let's go to Jubilees, chapter 16, verse 19 through 21, because it has a major nugget here. And we're going to have to see if this is true. Because so far, right, we know that Exodus chapter 5, they said feast day. They refer to the Shabbat. They want to go a 3-day journey. So that means that they were not targeting to go all the way to the promised land. They just wanted to be released to go honor this feast day. So let's go to Jubilees and see what it says. This is Jubilees chapter 16, verse 19 through 21. It says this, and we went our way. This is dealing with Abraham, right? Right. And we're dealing with Abraham and Sarah, anyway, but it says, and we went our way and we announced to Sarah all that we had told him, and they both rejoiced. So we already know when you're reading, I believe this in Genesis, I believe chapter 17, 17 or 18, we see that Abraham and Sarah was visited by the Most High, right? And accompanied angels accompanied him, and they announced that they were going to have have a son and all that. So, but nevertheless, not getting into all of that, but we see here, and it says, we announced to Sarah all that we had told him, that's Abraham, and they both rejoiced exceeding great joy. But here's the kicker, verse 20, and he built there an altar to Yahweh, who had delivered him and who was making him rejoice in the land of his sojourning. And he celebrated a festival of joy in this month. Notice what it says, 7 days near the altar, which he had built at the well of the oath. Now, the well, you see, right? Ba'ar, oath, Shabba'i, or Shabbat. So if we put it together, Ba'ar, Shabbai, or Shabba'i. That sounds familiar. That sounds very familiar. So in Jubilees, it says that Abraham was the first to build an altar. And it says that he's the first. Here's the kicker right here, verse 21. It says he built booths, Sakath, for himself and for his servants on this festival. And he was the first to celebrate the feast, Chag, this is backwards. This is supposed to be reversed. Chag of Tabernacles, Sakawath, on the earth. Wait a minute. So in the book of Jubilees, we see that it says that Abraham was the first to celebrate the Feast of the Tabernacles. And notice we see here, let me go back. We see Ba'ar Shabba'i, or Ba'ar Shabbah. What does that sound to you like to you, family? Ba'ar Shabbah. What does that sound like to you, family? Type it in the comment section. What does Ba'ar Shabbah sounds like to you? Right? Type it in the comment section. If you don't know, I'm going to give you an answer anyway. Right? What does Ba'ar Shabbah, Ba'ar Shabbah, Ba'ar Shabbah, Ba'ar Shabbah. Beersheba. That's right, Timothy Prince. You got it. Beersheba. Right? Beersheba. Right? He got it. He hit it on the nail. Right? Let's give some shout outs to Timothy Prince. Right? Ba'ar Shabbat. Right? Sounds like Beersheba. Let me show you here. Right? Let me show you here. Jubilee says he was the first to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles on earth. So what is the well of the oath? What is the well of the oath? Let me break it down. Why is the well of oaths important? I'm going to break it down. Was Abraham the first to honor the Feast of Tabernacles? Quite possibly, family, because I'm going to show you here. Near the altar which he had built the well of the oath. When we go to Genesis chapter 21, verse 30 and 31, this is what it says. And he said, for these 7 ewe lambs shalt thou take of my hand, that they may be a witness unto me, that I had digged this well. Notice you see digged, right? Dig, the Hebrew word is ba'ar. Wherefore he called that place Ba'ar Shabar, or a Shabbat rather, or Ba'ar Shabbatai, which, as you see here, Beersheba. It says, wherefore he called that place Beersheba, because there they swear both of them. So we're dealing with Abimelech and Abraham. So let's go to the Eastern Bible Dictionary. Let's see the definition of Beersheba. Let's see what it says. Notice what it says here. Beersheba, well of oath, or well of 7. And I'm going to break that down real quick. A well dug by Abraham, and so named because he and Abimelech entered into a compact. On reopening it, Isaac gave it the same name. And it says it was a favorite place of abode of both these patriarchs. So Abraham named this place where he sealed the covenant with Abimelech. He called it Beersheba, right? So the Hebrew definition of Beersheba, this is what you'll see. It says well of an oath, Beersheba. It gives you some primitive root words that you could go to, or some 2 words, because this is Beersheba is actually 2 words, as we just pointed out. Ba'ar, right? Shabbatai, or Shabbat. But let's see, and let's confirm this. Let's go to the Hebrew definition of be'er, or beer, right? Let's see what it says here, right? This is the primitive root word. Ba'ar, it means to dig. So ba'ar, or be'er, it means to dig. In other words, digging what? A well. We see to engrave, to explain, declare, plain, make plainly. So dig, the first portion of that word, beer or be'er, right? That's what it means. It means to dig. Then we see the word Sheba, or Shabbat. Notice what it says here. To be complete, right? It's primitive root, repeating a declaration 7 times. So when they would make an oath, right, they would repeat it 7 times, right, to make sure that they understand their commitment, and that you know, again, completion, 7, completion, right? But we notice here it says charge. In other words, by an oath, with an oath, take an oath. So 7 times they declared whatever agreement 7 times. They're promised to each other 7 times. Abraham and Abimelech. So this is what Beersheba means, or Ba'ar Shabbat, or Ba'ar Shabbatai. It means, right, to dig, but also oaths, by an oath, declaring it 7 times. So Abraham was memorializing his commitment by naming the place where the commitment was made, by naming it Beersheba. So every time he thought or heard of the place Beersheba, or Ba'ar Shabbat, or Ba'ar Shabbatai, he would remember his commitment and renew it before Yahweh. So Abraham, guess what? His son Isaac reopened and rededicated this place, right? Let's go to the scriptures. Genesis 26, verse 30 through 33. Let's see what it says. It says, and he made them a feast, right? Mashatha or Mashatha. In other words, this word means celebration, right? And they did eat and drink, and they rose up bedtimes in the morning and swear one to another. Shabbatai. Now we see they're swearing to one another. They're making a commitment to one another. That's that word Shabbatai or Shabbat. They're making a commitment, an oath. They're reciting it 7 times. And Isaac sent them away, and they departed from him in peace, right? Verse 32, and it came to pass the same day that Isaac's servant came and told him concerning the well which they had digged. Notice we see here, Ba'ar, right? He and said unto him, we have found water. So they dug this well, and notice what happens in verse 33. Because of the water coming out of it was a sign, it was a proof, it was evidence, right? And he called it Sheba or Shabbat, right? Because this is the, remember, this is the oath, this is the promise. Therefore, the name of the city is Beersheba or Ba'ar Shabbat unto this day. So this well, Isaac named this well Shabbat, right? In the city of Ba'ar Shabbat that his father had named. So you see the importance. That's why I'm sharing this with you. So that way you could understand the importance of Beersheba, right? Showing you the importance, but we're not going to stop there. So this is kind of giving you a map here. And I want you to see here, right? This is Beersheba, right? This is where Abraham made his way to. This is where Isaac is here in this place. In Egypt, Goshen, right? This is where in Exodus chapter 5, this is where Israel is, right? Remember, the whole stretch of the way going all the way to the promised land, that is an 11-day journey. But we split that in less than half. We see Beersheba is right here, a 3-day journey. But we're not going to stop there. We're not going to stop there because this right here, even though the slide is out of whack, matter of fact, let me move it into its proper place. So that way I can make sure you get the proper understanding, because now we get ready to deal with Jacob, right? So let me copy these over to Jacob, because I'm going to show you something that's very important with Jacob. Let me move this over, right? Actually, let's move this from here and let's put this where it needs to go at, because that's out of whack. All right. All right, here it is right here. All right, now we're going to deal with Jacob. We're going to see how important this is with Jacob, right? Now, let me show you. So Abraham's grandson, Jacob, went to this place. Genesis chapter 28, verse 10 and 11. Notice what it says here. Jacob went out from Beersheba and went towards Haran, and he lighted up a certain place and tarried there all night because the sun was set, and he took of the stones of that place and put them for his pillows and lay down in that place to sleep. So Jacob had his afro going on, family. He had his locks going on, family, because that's the only way you can make a stone into a pillow. Because guess what? We got natural wool in these hairs, and that's on our in our heads, right? The Ra'ash, when you look at the pictograph, it looks like a brother man with an afro, or a sister with an afro. Guess what? He used his hair as a pillow. But anyway, but the key is verse 10. Jacob went from Beersheba and went towards Haran. So when we go back here, let me show you where I was getting at. Right? This is Beersheba, right? Goshen is where Israel were in Exodus chapter 5, and we'll get back to that. But when we go to this next slide here, right? I'm going to pull it up here. You see Beersheba down here, right? But then we see Haran here. So Jacob went from Beersheba and he went to Haran. But notice the places here. You see Jericho, right? Right? This is the capital that the Most High, the territory that the Most High has given to Israel, right? But notice what you see here. He traveled from Beersheba or Ba'ar Shabah all the way to Haran. So this is going to this is showing you the importance of Beersheba, right? Let me see if I can zoom in for you guys so you can see it here. All right. I want to zoom in. If you guys can see that clearly, type 1. And I hope this is helping you guys out, right? You see there, you see it right there, right? Let me do it again for you. All right. All right. All right. Let me zoom in again so you can see. All right. So here's Haran up here in this area, right? So he traveled from Beersheba to Haran. And you see Beersheba right here, Jericho here, and some of the other places here. All right, Jordan. All right, but we see Beersheba here. All right. All right. Hope that helps. Hope that helps. So let's bring this all together, family. And this is where Jacob traveled. But let's see another key text here. Jacob returned to Beersheba en route to Egypt. Genesis chapter 46, verse 1 through 4. Notice what it says. And Israel took his journey with all that he had and came to Beersheba and offered sacrifices unto Elohim. Some of you guys would say Elohim of his father. Wait a minute. So we see that Jubilees tell us that Abraham and Sarah honored tabernacles here, set up booths here. They set up an altar here. They sacrifice here. Then we just proved that his son did the same thing, honored, celebrated, sacrifice here. Now we see his grandson doing the same thing. But then we read in Exodus chapter 15 that Moses want to, under the request of the Most High, have Israel travel a 3 days journey into the wilderness to honor the feast days. It definitely sounds like the only feast day we could be referring to is Tabernacle, as we laid it out. As you see here, it says, and Israel took his journey with all that he had and came to Beersheba and offered sacrifices unto Elohim of his father Isaac. And Elohim spake unto Israel in the vision of the night and said, Jacob, Jacob, right? And he said, here am I. In other words, Hanani, right? He said, here am I. Doesn't that sound familiar? Doesn't that sound just like how the Most High called his grandfather when he called his grandfather to sacrifice, right? His father, Isaac. He called him late or early in the morning or late at night. And Abraham responded by saying, here I am. That is the phrase of availability. He said, here I am. And then he charged him with what to do. But notice what happens in verse 3. And he said, I am Elohim, right? The Elohim of thy father. Fear not to go down into Egypt, for I will make thee a great nation. Wait a minute. This is the promise that the Most High made to his grandfather. Let's see verse 4. I will go down with thee into Egypt, and I will also surely bring thee up again. And Joseph, wait a minute, he gave his father the prophecy of his son Joseph, who was thought to be dead. He said, and Joseph shall put his hand upon thine eyes. So he said, I will go down with thee into Egypt, and I will also surely bring thee up again. Right? So we see here that this is a key prophecy. This is a very key prophecy because I'm just read here, verse 5. I got some of it here. Jacob rose up from Beersheba, and the sons of Israel carried Jacob, their father, and their little ones, and their wives. I can't see the rest of it. Wives, I believe it says, and sons, which Pharaoh sent to carry him. But anyway, we see here that the Most High is confirming the promise he made to his grandfather with him. And all of them found or went to Beersheba. Beersheba is a very special place, right? Because we see Abraham was here. We see Isaac was here. Now we see Jacob is here. We see in the book of Jubilees saying that they were honoring Sukkoth, that they're honoring Chag Sakath. In other words, the Feast of Tabernacles. Oh, come on, family. This is some nuggets right here. This is some nuggets right here. So is it possible that the well of the oath is where Yahweh wanted Israel to honor the feast days? Absolutely. Because that's the only other feast day we can really think of. They couldn't have been honoring the Feast of Dedication because they didn't have a temple and they didn't have a tabernacle at the time. So they were honoring tabernacles. The request was to go honor tabernacles, 3 days journey. So what is the Feast of Tabernacles? We're about to wrap this up, family. Is it a possibility? Absolutely. Right? We just covered this right here, family. I'm not going to go through this again. Let me go past that map. So while they were in the wilderness, they were rehearsing how to stay holy, in other words, Quadash, when they are delivered. See, family, it's funny how in church you hear, we're going to do what Jesus did, but they don't want to live the way Christ lived. Christ honored the law, statutes, and commandments. He honored the feast days. Actually, the Most High in Amos rejected Israel during that time because Israel began to do exactly what the church is promoting right now, mixing and meshing with pagan worship. Israel began to mix and mesh paganism with the feast days. And the Most High said, I don't hear your songs. I don't smell the aroma coming up from your sacrifices. He said, hey, I'm not feeling none of that. I'm not in none of that. That's your feast days. That's not mine, because his is laid out in 23 of Leviticus, right? So while they were in the wilderness, they were rehearsing how to stay holy when they are delivered. And then when we go back to Leviticus 23, verse 36, notice what it says. 7 days ye shall offer in an offering made by fire unto Yahweh. On the 8th day shall be in holy convocation. So the first day and the 7th day is a holy convocation, right? A holy celebration, right? They're just celebrating corporately, crying out to the Father. Ye shall do no servile work. Ye shall do no servile work. The Hebrew definition of servile, right? Servile simply means abadah, means servile means any kind of labor, tilling, right? You're not going to do none of that stuff. We're going to focus on celebrating the Most High, sacrifices and celebrating. So this means the entire community celebrated, the entire community. Let's go to Deuteronomy 16, verse 14 real quick. It says, and thou shalt rejoice. Notice what you see. Shamak, bringing us all in. Thou shalt rejoice. Shamak, you're going to be glad, family. You're going to be glad in this, right? You're going to, let down your guards, right? Let go of that disappointment. Let go of that stuff that's been bothering you. You're going to rejoice. You're going to take possession of the things that the Most High has given you possession of. In thy feast, Cog, thou and thy son and thy daughter and thy manservant and thy maidservant and the Levite, the stranger, the fatherless, the widow that are within thy gates. Wait a minute. Here we say rejoice. So here we see everyone, whether it's blood descendants of Israel and non-blood descendants of Israel, they rejoicing right here inside this passage. Rejoice, Shamach, and thy feast, Chag. But we're not going to stop there. This is a holy convocation and not a holiday. See, we've been taught to approach the Most High's day like it's a holiday from a Christianity perspective, from a work perspective, because when we think of holiday, it's connected with vacation. But notice what holiday means. Holy day. So when you say the Christian holidays, when you say you celebrate the holidays of, let's just say Easter or Christmas, or matter of fact, if you say Columbus holiday, if you say Labor Day holiday, you referring to that day as a holy day. The government is referring to everything that is a holiday as a holy day for this country. So we are taught to honor the holy days of this country, but not honor the holy days of the Most High. Come on, family. Come on, family. Let me say that again. I know we up late here, family. I know I'm keeping you guys up later than the norm. It's up past your bedtime. But guess what? We've been programmed to honor man-made holy days and not the holy days of the Father.
What?
That's right. It says here holiday. It says holy day, consecrated day, religious anniversary, Shabbat, day of exemption from labor and recreation. So guess what? The 4th of July is a holy day for this country. Memorial Day is a holy day for this country. That's why they had the festivities that they have for the soldiers, the fallen soldiers. Labor Day is a holy day for this country. Columbus Day is a holy day for this country. Halloween is a holy day for this country. Thanksgiving, holy day for this country. Christmas, holy day for this country. President's Day, holy day for this country. Abraham Lincoln's birthday, holy day for this country. Martin Luther King birthday, holy day for this country. Juneteenth, holy day for this country. Not a holy day for the Most High. Come on, family. Can we be real about this?
What?
Oh, y'all know where I'm going at with this, family. Come on, family. I'm going somewhere with this. That's why I'm doing this extensive teaching, so you understand the deception, the delusion. So holiday, man-made holidays is related to the word vacation, right? Notice what vacation means: freedom from obligation, leisure, release, a being free from duty. See, that's what we're taught, right? To leave, abandon, give out. See, the church has taught us to abandon the feast days of the Most High, but embrace the holy days that they created, the holy days of this government, the holy days that this government created. But no, we can't honor the feast days of the Most High. See, that's the proper clarity of Colossians. Colossians is dealing with this very thing that we're dealing with. They're trying to judge us by honoring the feast days, and they all out of whack. They are all out of whack. They are in sin. That's what Colossians actually is referring to. Hypocrites trying to judge us because we're honoring the feast days. So guess what? When we honor the feast days of the Most High, we're not abandoning the Most High. We're not on vacation from the Most High. Actually, on our down days, we are celebrating corporately the Most High. That's what the Shabbat is. The word Shabbat also means celebrate, not just rest. It means celebrate. So we're having a corporate celebration collectively to honor our Most High. So many people have no problem abandoning their responsibilities to Yah on man-made holidays. And again, they are operating. Anyone that does that are operating in the spirit of vacation. Excuse the typo on this slide. So there is no vacations with Yahweh. And let me make sure you understand the intention of these holidays, these man-made holidays. Let's deal with the word day. Let's go to the etymology of day. Holiday, right? Dag, Old Norse, right? Old English, right? This is Norse word, German word. Notice what it says: lifetime. So guess what? These man-made holidays are not in place for the moment. They are designed to be celebrated during what? Your lifetime, my lifetime, entire span of our lives, to be honored forever. Oh, you see what's going on here, family? That's what day means. Lifetime. You see how crafty words have meaning? This stuff fly right over our heads that we have no clue. No clue. No clue what's going on here. Proto-Indo-European root ag or egg, day, a day. The primitive root word a day, egg or ag, but lifetime. So remember, day means lifetime. These are the feasts of the Most High, family. Leviticus 23. Oh, excuse me. Trying to clear my throat. Leviticus 23, verse 37. Excuse me, family. I meant to hit the mute button. My throat is getting dry. So these are the feasts of Yahweh, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto Yahweh, a burnt offering, a meat offering, sacrifice, drink offerings, everything upon this day. So guess what? We're supposed to be celebrating holy convocation, Quadash, Ma Quara, celebrating together, crying out, calling on the Father, celebrating. He said, we shall proclaim. Ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Ma Quara or Ma Quara, Quadash. So proclaim, Quara, means to call out to. It means to mention, or in other words, name or give name. Preach that this is a holy rehearsal for things to come. In other words, we're the recorders. Remember, we're supposed to remember to do these things. So the playback, if we're good witnesses, our playback is going to bear witness that we're good witnesses because we're going to honor the things of the Most High. But if we're not doing what the Most High called us to do, declared and commanded us to do, we are terrible recorders. Something is wrong with our recorder. Proclaim means to call out, mention, name, preach. That is, this is a holy rehearsal for things to come. That's what we're supposed to understand. Excuse the typo. Leviticus 23, verse 38 and 39. Notice this here. Beside the Sabbaths of Yahweh, and beside your gifts, and beside all your vows, and beside all your free will offerings, which ye give unto Yahweh, also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto Yahweh 7 days. On the first day shall be a Shabbat, and on the 8th day shall be a Shabbat. So it's 8 days. The first, right? It says 7 days. The first day shall be a Shabbat. The last day, right? Some wrapping everything up. And the last day, the 8th day is going to be a Shabbat. So 2 days that they're not doing no type of work, just celebrating and honoring the Most High. Right? I already explained that. I'm not going to get into that, but we're going to wrap it up. Verse 40. Notice what it says. And ye shall take you on the first day the boughs of good trees, branches of palm trees, the boughs of thick trees and willows of the brooks, and ye shall rejoice before Yahweh your Elohim 7 days. So on the first day, the people were to build booths, they were to build shelters or whatever from tree leaves to live in for 7 days. Right? Remember, I said the first day is supposed to be a Shabbat. Oh, well, they building their booths on a Shabbat. Anyway, that's a whole nother discussion. So the feast days, the festivals of Tabernacles, reminded the Israelites of their wilderness wanderings, when they lived in tents on their way to the promised land, right? It's a reminder. But I believe we take it a step further. It's a reminder of what the Most High did with Abraham, what the Most High did with Isaac, right? What the Most High did with Jacob. That's what I believe, because I believe that they were honoring this feast day. I believe it because everything points to it, what we just highlighted. Even in our original language, ancient Hebrew, we are reminded with each letter of how Yah provide a shelter, how he provided a shelter. Excuse the typo. I should have proofread my thing here. Shelter, bayath. In the Israeli language is Beth, right? Numerical value is 2. House, family, bloodline. So this means a bloodline, but also a physical house. So he provided shelter. And the aerial view of this, right, looks like the tabernacle, looks like the temple, right? This look like the Holy of Holies right here, right? So that bayath, shelter, right? Then we see the dalath, right? That means the door, right? To secure that shelter, right? To secure that place of safety, right? You have to have a door. Notice this the bayath, but now let's highlight the dalath, right? The bayath or Beth, the dalath, which in Israeli language is the daleth, right? We see there's the dalath, right? At the door, still part of what? Safety, secure, in the Most High. The letters is explaining it to us. The wah, because we needed to secure it with something, right? Numerical value is 6. It means tent, peg, hook, secure. So let's bring it together. Here's the bayath, which looks like a tent. There's the dalath, which is the door, and here's the wah, right? The tent pegs to keep it secure. But you need a lifeline. There's your lifeline. This is what is called in the Israeli language, tikvah, right? Which means hope. In ancient Hebrew, thakwawa, which means literally a rope, right? So we need that rope connected to that the house connected to these pegs, so that way wind won't come like the 3 little piggies, right? A strong wind won't come like that one that built his house on straw. And when a wolf came and huffed and puffed, he blew his whole house away, right? This is to help keep us secure. And what's important with our lifeline is having Christ at the connecting end, our anchor on the other side of that lifeline, that string, right? We on one side, he's on the other side, right? Hope. All right. So the Festival of Tabernacles is also important, that there's a future celebration that's prophesied. Let me say it again. The tabernacle is so important that there is a future celebration that's prophesied. Let me read it one more time. The Feast of Tabernacles is so important that there is a future celebration that's prophesied. Zechariah chapter 14, verse 16 through 19. And I'm going to read it real quick and we'll wrap it up. This is it. This is my last verse. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, Yahweh of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. What did it say? It says that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem, guess what? It's not going to be the soldiers. It's going to be what? Those innocent people from other nations that have oppressed our people. It says, guess what? The remnant from them, guess what? They're going to have to honor the feast day. So if we're saying that the feast days is a rehearsal of things to come, then we're supposed to be honoring the feast days. So practice make perfect, right? Right. If you guys don't like worship and you talking about you want to be one with the Father and you want to have eternal life, well, guess what? We're going to be worshiping forever. You know, the feast days is going to be there in the future. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, Yahweh of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. So it's not just going to be the Israelites. It's going to be non-blood descendants of Israel honoring the Feast of Tabernacles. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, right? The Messiah, right? Yahweh of hosts, right? Guess what? We got to make sure we honoring Yahweh. We got to make sure we honoring his son, Yahweh Shai. But as you see here, to worship the King, Yahweh of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. But here's the kicker. Notice it's going to tie in with what Jacob was concerned about. Notice what Moses was concerned about. Actually, I want to really focus on Moses. Moses pointed out about plagues if they don't honor the feast day in Exodus chapter 5. Notice here, verse 18, and the family of Egypt go not up and come not. Right. So if the family of Egypt do not honor, right, the remnant of Egypt, if they do not honor this feast day, notice what it says. there shall be the plague, wherewith Yahweh will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Wait a minute, family. So the other nations going to be celebrating the Tabernacles. Come on, family. We can't get around this. We cannot get around this, family. We can't get around this. We cannot get around this, family. We cannot get around this. We cannot get around this, family. Verse 19. This shall be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. So, family, it was the Feast of Tabernacles that Israel was trying to celebrate, that the Most High had Moses request to Pharaoh to allow his people to go 3 days journey into the wilderness to honor the Feast of Tabernacles, because we see how important it is right here. Why? Because there's a future tabernacle, that's a celebration that's coming up. It's going to be of all the nations, and we're going to lead the way. Right? We're going to lead the way. We got to honor the Shabbat. And that's pretty much it right here, family. The non-Israelite nations will make an annual pilgrimage to worship Yahweh in Jerusalem. There they, in Jerusalem, they will celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles, right? And this is the blessing right here, family. This is normally in our Shabbat and also inside our teachings at Bible study. I close out with this prayer. This is the final blessing right here. This is the final blessing that this is the blessing that Aaron spoke over Israel in Numbers chapter 6. I don't like to call it the final blessing because he had to continue to speak life over them. But this is what is referred to as the benediction in the church when I grew up in the Baptist church. But I'm going to read this out here, and I'm going to read it in English right up here. This is right here, the ancient Hebrew. That's what these letters down here. This is the ancient Hebrew, right? The Lord bless thee, Yah Barak Ka Yahweh, and keep thee, Wa Yah Shamarak. Lord make Yah Yahweh, face shine upon thee, Pa'anayah Alayak. Be gracious unto thee, Wa Yah Kanak. The Lord lift up, Yasha Yahweh, countenance upon thee, Pa'anayah Alayak, and give thee peace, Wa Yashamlak Shalom. Family, I hope this blessed you. Go back over and look at the recording. I hope this really helps you. I hope this gives you proper clarity on the importance of the Shabbat, the importance of the feast days, importance of the tabernacles. Guess what? You don't have to have a church. I'm not a church and a temple, but you could do this right in your home. You could put a tent out in your backyard. You know, you could go to a campground, rent a piece of property, go. You can, all of us can do this. We don't need what we've been institutionalized to thinking that we need. Guess what? We're going to honor the tabernacles in my backyard. Right? It's going to be, every year normally be between 25 to 30 tents that we set up in the backyard. I'm not sure how many we're going to do this year, but it's going to range between 20 to 30 tents. I'm going to do it in my backyard. Next year, we're going to have property. By then, we're going to own our property. We're looking for a new location, and we're going to do it at that property. So, family, we can do this. Don't listen to when people say you can't do this or you need to be in Jerusalem or Israel to honor these feast days. I just proved that the request to honor the Feast of Tabernacles was in Egypt. I proved that the Passover was in Egypt, right? The first, the second Passover was in the wilderness. For 40 years, they honored all the feast days and the wilderness. So don't let anyone tell you what you cannot do, because we can do it. We can do it, family. We can do it. Don't let no one tell you what you can't do. When you have a mind to work, a mind to build, like Nehemiah highlighted, you will not let anything stop you, right? So as for me and my house, as Joshua laid out before his death, in other words, his bloodline, they're going to celebrate. We're going to celebrate. We're going to do the things of the Most High. So feel free, if you're in the Richmond area and you want to come out here and honor the feast days with us, feel free to do so. I didn't announce it like I normally would, so that's my mistake. Normally I announce it at least a month in advance, so that way you guys can come out. So if you're able to, great. But we're having the Feast of Dedication coming up in December. And if you guys are interested, I'll make a post on it. I'll also put it on my Facebook channel, and we'll make sure that you are notified. I should have my website back up. I'm working on my server. I got to fix something on my server. I'll do it tomorrow. The website will be back up, and I will drop the link on in the community section where our page, and you could join our page, join our site, and you'll get email notifications of our activities that we have going on. All right. So I hope and pray that this helps you. So again, family, don't listen to the naysayers, right? We can do this. So with that being said, let me close out with the garbage can. Let me give the garbage can to all those that are teaching contrary to the word of the Most High. Especially Christianity, Catholicism, that's teaching that we don't have to honor the commandments. We don't have to honor the law, statute, commandments of the Most High. We don't have to honor the feast days, but they're teaching man-made commandments. They're teaching man-made feast days, holy days, right? Let's give them the garbage can. Let's give them a 3-piece. Let's give them their order to go. So with that being said, family, in the words of Moses, that he echoed to the children of people, the children of Israel, the people of the Most High, under the instructions of Yahweh, right? He told them, Exodus chapter 14, verse 13 to 14, fear ye not, stand still, see the salvation of Yahweh. These Egyptians that you see here today, you will never have to deal with them again. The Most High will fight for you. But here's the kicker, family. You have to hold your peace. And in the Hebrew, the word that's there is not shalom, as some of you guys would say shalom, but it's actually charash, which means be quiet. Can't go back, can't stay here, keep moving forward. Shalom.
Listen, Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this back, Genesis 14, verse 13, Abraham steps on the scene. Being a descendant of Shem, which is a fact, means Abraham too was black. Abraham, born in the city of a black man, called Nimrod, grandson of Ham. Ham had 4 sons. One was named Canaan. Here, let me do some explaining. Isaac was Jacob had 12 sons, for real, and these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel.